I am Decathlon Gamer, and welcome back to PCM23 Lions. We're at the half-century mark. It's episode number 50. We're at the Tour of Norway. We've got 3 riders placed in the top 13 here in the final 3 stages, 4, 5, and 6. 6 in this one, and we are 1/3 of the way. Or we have a circuit. We're going to have 3 times to do that. We're now a third of the way. Gosh, I can't get words going. um, let's see. We're about 15K on the loop. Here's the climb. So we're officially on what is the climb on this one. The climb's not too severe. It's not bad. We're gonna hit it this one plus 2 more times coming up on the top of it now. There's only 2 riders left in the breakaway. 2.5 minutes, or there is only 2 riders in the breakaway. And they're down to just 2 minutes. The peloton's already starting to break up a little bit. Road's a little skinny. I could see things going a little differently. But the big moment is this. It's only 1 star, but you'll see why it's a big moment. You hit this cobbled sector, and there's the finish line coming right out of it. So it will impact the sprint slightly. Cobble rating will be a little bit of a factor. And with the climbing, we could see some splits. I mean, we've already seen 27 riders off the back. They're only 42 seconds behind, meaning they're very close to making contact, and probably will when we hit this climb. But as we hit the top of it, we could see yet another sprint. I've got guys going on in 80. Let's go ahead and increase that now. Position, I think, really matters. They do make contact, as I suspected, but as we go over the top of it, we may see another split. Skinny road, left-hander while climbing. That could change things up. 1 minute to those final guys. We'll be pushing the next time, trying to make something happen. 21K, not yet time. Might be time to gel up for our top guys like Arengana and Benia Messias. I mean, top domestique guys, that is. Somebody's attacking. Somebody is attacking as soon as we get through this little hill. I think that's where I want to try to set things up here, at least in a moment. Definitely want to be pushing before the hill. 14K. I think we'll go here at 13. Alright, it's time. And we're going to get started trying to push to the front. The breakaway's just been reeled in. Other teams are starting to form up their trains. If we can get through this, there we go, we can start to stretch things out. And with the skinny nature of this, getting out front is the place you want to be. 10K. Still not really properly out front, but now we begin the climb, steepest section. Arengana is well placed. Matoni is there. We're okay on the position here. Alright, Arengana take it over. Benia Messias dropping back. 7K. And the field has split. 27 riders. 7K. Tony to take over. Got to keep pushing all the way to the finish. It's downhill, and it finishes with that little cobbled sector, so you do want to get maximum push. The split has unsplit. It's trying to resplit, but it's too close to the end, I think, to see any sort of time bonus. What it's not too close for is the chance to maybe do something in terms of sprinting, winning. Going for it here on our way to the finish. We've got that nice forward progression, but one rider has come through really well, and he's going to get the stage win. And we might get Samuels on the podium or not. He'll be 3rd or 4th. He does get 3rd, so we get 4 seconds out of this. It's Welton who's taken the win, or Velton, Thiessen, Samuels, Maurice. Mollebron is 5th. We do get a small group, but I doubt we're going to see a time gap. We might. The cobbled rating, I mean, when you quick sim a cobbled race, there's gaps everywhere, even if it's like one little rinky-dink cobbled sector that means nothing. We saw climbs on this one. There are reasons to give separation, but it came very late. Game never seems to get them when we're on the right end of it. Well, it does. Just not as often as it tends to give it when you're on the wrong end of it. Sure enough, no gaps given. First gap is to 59th place. Does that change the order at the front at all? Soren Kragh Andersen loses sometimes. No. He does not lose time. Samuels gains 4 seconds for finishing on the podium. That's the only change in the order. The first drop happens well down. Mollebrand now 22nd up from 25th, but it's no one in the top 18 lost any time. So Motoni stays 13th, Shimway stays 4th, and Samuels snags 4 seconds away from to jump ahead of Soren Kragh Andersen. We have a long ways to go here on stage number 5, but the tempo has been quite high from the very beginning. 5 riders were allowed to get out and form a breakaway, but by the time we even hit the very first KOM, the Cat 2 just mere kilometers into the stage, they already had their gap, and the peloton was already beginning to keep that gap stationary, something that you'd see much later in a stage. And with the amount of undulation we have, not necessarily being a lot, but based on that type of tempo, I actually do believe we're going to see a lot of riders drop today. We've already got 2 out the back. That's not much at this point, obviously, with 84 kilometers still to go. But you could see that Motoni, who sits 13th overall, is in big trouble. He got a -5 draw today. His expected was a +3. So for him to pick up a -2, that sucks for him. And I'm saying farewell to his position in the standings. Arengana also had a -2 draw. Everybody else is expected +5s besides those 2 guys. So this is a really poor draw. Benny Messias, the only one who could have potentially had a positive draw for the day, but for now, at least on paper, he's got a 0. There's a -3, -5, -10 for the 6 members of the team as we get down to the final 60K. Let's go ahead and send Ngana to get water. The final time for us, 73 still in the peloton. Those 2 that are behind are way behind, just shows that tempo. But the splits have not happened yet. Of course, that descent allowed for a little bit of recovery, but I would imagine the undulation in this period and this upcoming little Cat 4, by then, we're going to start to see some riders out the back. Last 2 riders at the front, under 2 minutes to them. They're not much of a threat at that point, and certainly at this pace, and already seeing how that group has been decimated. But how much of the field will split up between here and the finish is the big question. You can see it's already shrinking. Like I said, by this Cat 4, I expected some riders to start to get dropped, and sure enough, that is what has happened. 5 riders out the back. We have gotten a fair bit of recovery, 42K to go. I want to be aggressive with this stage to see a number of riders dropped. And go for it, at the end. Definitely want to go for it at the end. I think we can see a decreased group, and as it's classified punchy, we can expect a better likelihood of seeing some gaps that are actually given at the end, unlike the last stage where only a few riders were dropped. And it's back together a little bit here as we go over this Cat 3 now. 30K to go. Our guys in full strength situation. Arengana, oh come on, Arengana, Mollebrand, and Motoni go down. Well, just Arengana and Mollebrand. They are recovering their position. We're going to wait until they recover their position to bother doing something, though we are starting to see some classics riders going for it. I wanted to kind of have foot down by this point, but we're just now getting back into that position. Mollebrand coming back up. There's that little acceleration from some guys, and I think it's time that we respond a little bit early. 18K. But with the amount of push we've had throughout this stage, I think we're going to start to see riders dropping fairly quickly. Arengana is going to go first. I think Motoni, I'm just going to go ahead and sacrifice his position. We're going to let him go. Benny Messias then. Mollebrand, Samuels are the leaders, so it's a Shimway who... Do I want to protect? No, I'm not going to protect him. We're going to use him. Mollebrand, Samuels. All right, here we go. 99 to get us started, but of course we're not going to stay there, not for 18 kilometers. But he's getting out front. Now we start to ease off a little bit. 94, push at a higher tempo. There are 2 riders that have escaped. Okay, 14.7k. Arengana is done. I'm not going to drop him all the way to the back. I'm going to have Motoni take over. And we're going to drop Arengana to about third wheel for now. Give him a second go. Start pushing to 95 this time. We're going to try one more time for Motoni as well. So Arengana and Motoni will go once more. They have plenty of yellow bar to hang on, so they're not getting wasted on that. But here comes that undulation, and that's seeing Motoni not be able to handle it. So let's go ahead and just drop him to the back. Shimway can cover that off. Benia Messiah is still pushing. Arengana is now fading. Let's drop him down. That still gave protection to his teammates, I suppose. And we are split. We have a front five. Motoni couldn't hack it, so he's going to sit up. K could be beheaded for another situation where we have separated the field and managed to finish 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The gap seems to be coming down a little bit. Onto a Shimway. 7k. That's not connected. Come on. I've been a quarter of a bike length behind and not given credit for being connected. Rodriguez is closing that gap right now, but that's still over 2 bike lengths behind. We're going to have to now start thinking about the stage. So let's... That'll ease things off a little bit, but Shimway is not pushing too hard right now anyway. Alright, Arengana. Go ahead and drop again. Let Benia Messias come back through. 2.7. Okay, this is the last little hill. I don't think that gel's going to kick in, but we might as well go for it. Benia Messias, he's going to start his sprint here. What sprint, right? Okay, Mulebron leading out Samuels, and Samuels heading for the finish line. Here comes a proper sprinter in Girmay. He's going to take the win, but Samuels is going to grab 6 seconds. Mulebron's going to grab 4. For Samuels, that matters. And their separation here at the finish line, 15 seconds to the next group. Do they get it? It's a punchy stage. It should be given. I would love to see them get the additional 13 seconds. That would be a 19-second gain for Samuels. That would definitely be enough to get into the top 5. How high, though? Podium, maybe? Other separations appeared further back. 35, apparently, in the peloton. I would love to see a gap given after 38th place as well. That would really start to separate this field a little bit and cement some of our positions. Motoni was right at the back of the group, so he won't have lost any additional time. That might keep his 13th. No time given at the front. Yeah, punchy stage, my ass. No gaps given at the back. 61st. So starting with 62nd on down, gaps are given is all today. At least we picked up 6 seconds. We just cannot buy a gap for the life of us. That brings Samuels into the top 5 ahead of De Sousa. Shimway remains 4th. Rodriguez, the one who covered that gap to bring the field back up to us, is 3rd place. Motoni remains in 13th. Mulebron has jumped into 18th, by the way. Heading into the final stage, one thing we have set up here is a Mulebron Samuels 1-2 in the points classifications, though Girmay jumping way up the order on that one. Is he a threat for the last stage? It's another punchy one, but it's like this one that you could very well see somebody like him hanging on with a 78 Hills rating. Heading into the last stage, now I have all 6 riders. So the last 2 of them have begun their fitness peaks. The entire group, there's your confirmation, entire group expected to have +5s today. Final stage, bit more undulation on this one than what we had on the previous stage, and relatively high tempo. Establishing the break was definitely a challenge today. 5 riders finally did end up making it. They have a 2.5 minute advantage already, starting to come down relatively quickly. But the lift in pace to let them get an established break has eased off the tension in the peloton a fair bit, so I don't think we're going to be pushing too hard through these first 2 or 3, if you count the intermediate sprint there, climbs of the day, and really just kind of sets us up for a high tempo at the finish, which does have some undulation, which can create separation. But as we've seen on previous stages, separation means jack when you're the one creating it in this game, unless it's a mountain stage. Mountain stage, it's virtually always given. Punchy stages, if your third wheel have a bike length behind, there's a gap in front of you. But when you're the one creating gaps, they just never want to give it. That's just me going wah, 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 wah. It really is more balanced than I give it credit for. Just frustrated that you do the job and then you don't get credit for doing the job. They were supposed to have fixed this 2 years ago, and then they rolled it back through their first update. It was working great in my eyes, but it was a slightly flawed system, and they rolled it back, and now, 2+ years later, no change. It is what it is. Okay, well, we're down to 60K, so let's get water for the final time of this race. Everybody was expected +5s. You're never going to actually get everyone on a +5. There's always going to be, this guy drew a +2, this guy drew a -2. They offset each other, but the guy who drew the +2 shows up +5, and the other one shows up as a +3. It's inevitable. But we do have a combined -5 out there. 3 guys on the +5 could have negated that. 73 riders chasing. Front rider has already been dropped, so they're down a guy with 38K to go. You see we're getting some blinking red here on a 77. Let's start pushing that up to make sure we're holding our position, setting us up for this final run-in. For now, we'll sit tight. We've got a little false flat here after this intermediate sprint. We might have some guys pushing for that, like Germay. Points don't matter on that, as only 3 guys are going to collect. There's more than 3 off the front. Though we are in contention for jerseys, I would expect that Germay is going to be there and competing for this stage. Okay, 23K to go. We've got another kind of double quick hill right here, and then another false flat just after. It's really just going to come down to that final little climb. It's categorized Cat 1, but that's garbage. It's not a Cat 1. It's barely a hill at all, but we'll do what we can with that one. Now 16K. Plenty of freshness in the legs. 1 rider off the front. Just seconds ahead. 14K. We've got to get ourselves out front before the climb, so we're going to have to go now. Alright, so Arengana's going to get out front, doing the dirty work to get us in position before we begin the climb. Now that he's just about there, we'll ease off a little bit because the climb itself is still coming here shortly. Alright, we'll go ahead and start pushing for him. In fact, I want him to kind of sprint it out for the next little bit. Give me his maximum without red bar kind of pace. You can see it's still not really doing anything to overtake those guys, but it sets him up now for the climb. And Bidia Messias, it's only 2K. So Arengana still sprinting it out, going his maximum pace. It's not really hurting Bidia Messias. Before we get to the top, though, we want to attack. 7.9K. Inside 1K. Alright. Arengana, drop. Bidia Messias going. That's going deep. That's hurting his team, but they'll recover the red bar during the descent. Motoni? Dude, what happened? How'd all these guys end up in front of you? Motoni was right behind Bidia Messias. I know he lost half a wheel, but he still had red bar. It's not like he just didn't have the same tempo. That was a weird one. 3.3K already. Hello. The heck? Everyone was in follow, and now they're not. Shimway is to the back, so you could follow Samuels. Arengana second in line, but we don't need a second in line this close to the end. Just go right into our leaders, so Arengana, just keep on pushing on your own. Bidia Messias, sprint coming out of here. Motoni now sprinting, 1.9. Molobron now sprinting. Final K for Samuels, and somebody's up there. It's Girmay, of course it is. But Samuels could be heading for another third place, another 4 seconds. I'm not sure that's enough to get him on the podium, though. It's Thiessen again. It's Samuels. Same 2 at the front. Same 3 at the front. So really good for us. I mean, based on who's around us, getting a podium under the circumstances is good. That one was weird, how it just divided our guys and split everybody up, and they stopped following. Right? There was absolutely no reason for that to have happened. They were on follow. They should have been following. Matoni drifted a few bike leagues back. Didn't have the same pace as Benny and Messias. But then the whole thing just blew up. No one was following anyone. So, strange mechanic on what happened there. But we recover well. We get another podium. We get another 4 seconds for Samuels. He's picked up 4, 6, and 4 now over the last few stages. That's big. That's very big. No separation as usual, so we're going to only gain the 4 seconds. That's not even enough to overcome a Shimway, and therefore your final podium is Evenepoel, Enevoldsen, Rodriguez, Shimway, and Samuels. But 2 guys in the top 5 is absolutely a worthy achievement. Matoni in 13th. Molebron is 17th. Overall, really good performance from the team. Big thing is, did we hang on to the points, though? Because Girmay picked up loads of them. 1 point. Samuels is 1 point behind Girmay. Molebron didn't really pick up much on this one, so no surprise that he drops. But Samuels beaten by a single point. So we do not get the green jersey. Otherwise, that probably would have been a plus. We were the best team in the race. I don't think we're going to get anything other than just nice points for the race. Into mid-June, and of course, the World Tour season is ramping up, so there's a lot more points coming in for other teams right now. It's a difficult time for us, as the schedule that was so busy at the beginning is going the opposite direction. But we're still hanging on to 13th in the overall rankings, and of course, what really matters for us is that Continental Pro setup, and looking at top 10, all World Tour teams. Currently, number 1 of the Continental Pro teams with 4,104 points. I don't suspect we'll stay there because we are into June. We've got Grand Tours. We've got the massive 1-week races all happening now or over the next couple of months. So it's going to be a much more difficult stretch where the points that are just available to other teams is going to probably drop us down a little bit. But if we can keep that top 3 in Continental Pro, I love our chances. Well, I mean, obviously that's going to mean that we're going to get some automatic bids next year and get a World Tour calendar going if we can hang on to Continental Pro. The internal progression of our squad might give us that chance. I'm up to 4 guys that are at the 4.5-star range. Be really nice if we can get another 5-star guy, though. It's close, though. I mean, Iolo Comite is at 3505. They're only 600 points behind us. That can happen pretty quick. And they're currently 5th in the Continental Pro ranking. So we're ahead of Lotto Destiny. That's nice, but I think realistically, look at all those World Tour teams that are well behind us. Trek 2809. There's a Continental team in Ratsa 2796. That's crazy. Either way, we're doing well. 13th. As for where we kind of fall into the rankings, we're talking about 55th overall in Samuels, 169, 172. So really just the one rider who's well placed. He's got triple what anybody else has. He's becoming our clear leader now. UAE, you got 292. Österreich 167, Sabatini 150, number of 100+ point performances this season. Just recently, the Norway Tour, 123 points for him. Samuels has jumped Stefan Dabad, so that's finally happened. He's up to 3rd now, just Fatien still in the top 5, and we're very much a huge quantity of the rest of the points outside of those top guys. those 4 guys that are all on World Tour teams. They are the extent of that, and naturally it puts them all in the top 5. Samuel's our top guy, the only one to kind of break the mold otherwise, and you could see how it's almost entirely us after that. Arroyo, Zerai, Caleb Kruger is the only one who's not a former member of our team. Well, actually, top 20, nothing. I mean, top 20 is literally all of our guys, and you've got just the leftovers, former members of our team otherwise. A lot of Continental Pro races left, plenty of chances, but those big World Tour points coming over those next couple of months. I expect we're going to fall for a bit, but we can come back up in those last couple of months if we stay active and get after it. It's very much shaping up into a very interesting season. I'm enjoying it. We're doing a lot more racing. We've had some really good results. We've had a lot of high placements against really deep fields. Not necessarily wins, but a number of top 5s and podiums. And the occasional win. And that's something that we're just going to continue to get better and better with time on. But that's going to do it for this episode. I'm a Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.